Welcome to Two Chairs, One Chat. We are your hosts, Zari Cox,
Rudolph Thurman.
Welcome to our very first episode. We are really excited and looking forward to having a really deep, in-depth conversation. We'll get into the topic in a little bit, but first I wanted to say thank God for creating, allowing us to be able to come together to do this podcast show. And we pray that He will use us and that we'll be able to touch someone out there or bring attention to something that you may not be aware of that you may be doing. And so we are going to roll. Is there anything you want to start with, Mr.?
Well, I just want to piggyback on what you said. I definitely want to thank God because, without Him, this wouldn't be possible. This definitely wouldn't be possible. He made this possible for us. I'm very thankful for this moment. We do have a lot of things that we're going to get into. But the first conversation for our show is going to be communication.
Yes.
And we thought it was fitting for that to be the first topic for our podcast show. Communication is everything to us. It should be everything to everyone else. Because without communication, things could just go so left. Mm-hmm. And we're going to touch on different components of communication and why those components are all important for you to have strong communication with people as a whole.
I think it's very important. We go through life, and sometimes we don't know how to communicate properly. Sometimes it could be how we were brought up, like our brain and stuff like that, and then we go into the world, and we don't know how to properly communicate with other people,
right.
And that can be, it can have, I think when you're not able to communicate properly, it becomes a problem, and you don't know how to, and you see, it affects a lot of things. Yes. It affects a lot of relationships as well. So,
you're 100% right with everything that you're saying. I would say one of the first things that we wanted to speak on with communication is listening.
Yeah.
Right? So we would say that listening is a major key when it comes to communication. You see, when two people are having a conversation and one person has something to say and the next person has something to say as well, when you're not listening, it just becomes a bunch of noise. Mm-hmm. Right? So when it's a bunch of noise, then nobody's gonna be able to understand stuff clearly.
Yeah.
Right? So
listening is one way of effectively communicating with others. Our tone. Also, what else do we say? So it's our tone, it's listening,
clarity.
It's clarity.
Understanding. Yeah.
Sometimes we're in conversations, and instead of we're actually listening to what someone is saying, we're just like yeah, but we're not really listening.
No, we're not.
Right? And then at the end you're like, yeah, but I just thought, I wasn't really paying attention. So at least we give each other time, or time to listen.
Yes.
We don't get carried away and just want to hurry someone up. Yeah, just talk, but you're not really listening to them.
Yeah.
And it's really important that we, make sure that we're listening to others when they speak, giving them the time to really say what they want to say, and then we respond.
Yeah, because everybody has something to say, right? So sometimes if you're passionate about what you want to say, like in a conversation. You know, you can hear that kind of stuff like in a person's tone, right? But but there's ways to say things and be fair in a conversation, right? So I feel like if you're a really good listener, the person that's speaking in that moment, they will also feel like they're being respected. They're getting a chance to say what they need to say, get something off their chest. And you got to look for openings in conversations, right? While you're communicating. When I say openings, I'm talking about even while a person is speaking, there's little pause moments where you could tell, depending on the relationship that you have, like with somebody, where you're like, okay, the next person wants to say something respectfully, right? So I think when we don't listen well, I feel like things just go upside down because we start to interpret things, the wrong way, right? So a lot of times people have the tendency of guessing what somebody's gonna say off of like the first sentence or two, and it's kind of not fair,
right?
To do that in as you're communicating. The goal of communicating as a whole is to be able to be a better communicator, to be able to communicate effectively, so there's less confusion when it comes to speaking to each other.
I think it's being out of respect. You listen when someone is speaking. Sometimes I've had the tendency of not listening and just like, oh yeah, but you know what? And I'm busting in people's conversation where they're kind of rude.
Yeah.
But as I grow, I become a better communicator, and that one thing is listening when someone else is talking. So I it's good to take responsibilities and see where you're faulting and stuff like that, and especially when it comes to relationships and personal relationships. And that's another topic that we will get into.
Yes, we will.
Next, because we just really need to talk about some other things. And communication in relationship is also very important. When you have your partner and you're not, you might have a disagreement and then you're shouting over each other and not giving each other the chance to talk. And that is rude, right? Even with our children, when it comes to communication, we have to be able to listen to them, what they're saying. I know sometimes we as adults, we're like, yeah, whatever. But I've learned a lot because as growing up, I was never listened to. So now with the way I communicate with my daughter and my son is where now I allow them to express themselves and really say how they're feeling respectfully, and we're on that level where we can have conversations because we allow each other to express ourselves and listen to what each other is saying. And I think it helps. It helps. It makes relationships stronger. Even in the professional environment with your employer, sometimes a coworker, a colleague may say something, and you're like, excuse me, like, I think that's a better way for you to, approach me or say stuff like that. And in my place of employment, I've had a few years where I'm like, who are you talking to? Like, kind of like that. But now I'm like, where everybody's like, you gotta communicate better with her because she would seriously walk away from you. So it's kind of like, it's growing, and even adults, we're still growing and we're still learning, and it's no time. I wouldn't say even at the age of your 30 and stuff, you should, because we're not perfect, right?
No.
And so we grow and we learn, and as we grow, we learn. At least some of us wants to learn.
Should be like that, right?
So this is kind of like where we've had instances where we, question certain things when people are communicating with us, and that's one of the reasons we wanted to make communication one of our very first topics, because it's important how we communicate with each other and even strangers, it's really important.
Yeah, I agree. You said a lot of great things, and one of the things that you brought it back to is your home, right? You know, a lot of things that we learn start from the home. Whether you, as a child, and you saw how your parents communicate, right? So that's the first place that you learn. So you see your parents, and not everybody saw the same things in their home, right? So maybe there's situations where you did have your mother and your father in the house, and they did communicate really good with each other, right? And maybe that helped you. But there might be situations where you saw that they didn't communicate well with each other, and when one was trying to speak, the other one just kept interrupting, and it's like it just didn't feel right. It was like...
I don't mean to cut you, but we're not going to blame people when we're all grown, right?
Oh, no.
We know better, right?
No, we know better. we know better.
Not going to blame the father, okay?
No, we're not. We're definitely not. we definitely not gonna do that. But I'm just saying, like, when it starts from the home, I'm talking about like the understanding of like the initial understanding of communication. You know, you're hilarious, man. She's hilarious. the initial understanding of communication. But yes, as you grow, you know, you learn, or you should learn, the things that you saw that may not have been right, and the adult you makes those changes, right? Because people do have the tendency of, you know, just leaning on their past and say, oh, I'm this way because of, you know, how I grew up. Like, no, but you don't have to be that way, right? You can make your adjustments and be a better you, like, you know. So
common sense, but you know, sometimes common sense is really hard to come by. But okay,
definitely it is. And listen, I can tell you, I can give aways, as you know, because we talk, right? We talk a lot, right? I can give, you know, one thing that you and me, we laugh about is cutting off, like in a conversation.
You know, just cut you off. But hey, felt like I was going back into my old ways. Could you let him talk?
Yeah. But I think like the funniest thing about like that is we as people, we always give like a heads up, and then still do it anyway, right? But like,
I'm not gonna cut you.
I don't mean to cut you
like I just did. Prime example of what that is.
Listen, we both do it, and you know, I just think that, you know, we just
I do it more than you. Hey, I don't want to cut you, but guess what?
We just passionate about what we're saying, but we know that we have like a lot of love and respect for each other, right?
Respect,
you know,
is very important, and it's in any relationship, respect, it's part of the communication, right? You respect someone, you give them the chance to express themselves and say how they feel, and
so that's very important. Tone now, right? So a lot of people have like their definition of how that should be looked at when it comes to communication, right? So some people, they would say, hey, you know, don't get so caught up in this person's tone or that person's tone. That's just who that person is. That's just how that person talks. We don't.
No, we don't
agree with that.
Yeah, we don't.
We don't agree with that. I just think it's like...
It's like you just need to check yourself.
Yeah.
And your tone, how you address people, and how you speak to them.
Yeah.
Straight up, like...
Yeah.
Check yourself.
Right.
I'm not gonna come. Hey, Rudy.
Yeah.
That's because do who you are. You know, that also is respect for that person.
Yeah.
And effective communication.
Yeah.
Like you just. Like, I'm not gonna stand for it. Like, you're not just gonna shout at me and come and say all kinds of craziness, and I'm gonna be like, okay, no, check yourself.
Yeah.
Watch your tone. You know, and that's all I have to do with respect and being able to communicate effectively.
Yeah, no, it's 100% right with what you're saying, because the tone sets the mood, right? So if you have a group of people in a room and the mood is very mellow, and you get that one person that just walk inside and they talk a certain way, that could just change the entire environment.
Right.
And now everybody starts to feel uncomfortable, right? Because, the mood was fine. And there's some people who, for some reason, they don't see anything wrong with that, right? They don't see anything wrong with that. And that's why sometimes we have to pause and check ourselves, sometimes, and understand, as we interact with people, we have to pay attention to the approach that we have. You can't just get caught up in your world where you're like, hey, this is how I am. Just accept me for who I am. I'm gonna talk however I want to talk. It's just reckless, and you're not gonna be great in communication that way. You're gonna have problems probably with everybody,
right?
Whether it be family, friends, even if you get into things like in the business world, if you just very reckless, careless, with how you talk, you're not attentive, to things, then you're gonna have a lot of problems. So you have to take that time to make that adjustment and understand that we're living in a world where there are multiple people, multiple personalities. It's a melting pot that we're in, right? So we have to do what we got to do to be better in that field of communication.
Yeah. Self-reflection. Reflect on self. I think that's so important. I practice it daily because I'm like, okay, so how did I handle that? What am I doing that's may affect someone? What did I say that may affect someone? And so, like I said, self-reflection is very, very important. And especially, in your homes or wherever, if somebody's constantly telling you that you're this way and you're refusing to acknowledge that you're this way, that's a problem, right? Your communication is, you're grumping all the time and you're whatever, and it's like you don't know how to communicate. You're yelling and you're saying crazy stuff that is not even called for. So again, self-reflection, looking at yourself, looking within and trying to make the changes. And that's why I think we decided to come together to do this podcast show, because we have at that age where we've noticed so many different things and we've had so many different experiences, and so it brings us to maybe we need to share opinions and open some eyes if need be, and have others really think about things and think about their approach in whatever area they're doing, whether it be on social media with your family, your friends, your colleagues, or wherever it is. Communication is really important. It's like I was in Walgreens the other day, and then I saw she looks like a supervisor or manager speaking to her employee behind the counter, and she was like, you guys this, and I'm always that person who would be talking to my daughter, but I want you to hear me, because maybe it'll help you change whatever it is that you're doing that you think may be right. The way she was addressing them when there was customers, I think it was so unprofessional. And I said, isn't that so unprofessional? Could you not wait until your employee gets to the back to have a meeting to say, this is what you don't do, right? Instead of addressing that issue or that situation in front of everybody. And it was a young man, and he looked around, and I know he felt some type of way. He felt
embarrassed.
It's part of communication. How are you communicating with your employees? So my daughter was she was like, I think she heard you. I was like, well, I'm glad she did. I wasn't trying to be rude or anything like that. I just think that sometimes people just need a little tap. Hey, maybe you communicate better with him. Maybe we can say, you know what, we'll talk after, but we'll talk about this, but quietly, not for everyone to hear.
Yeah.
That's embarrassing.
Yeah. So
part of communication.
Mm-hmm.
And so yeah.
Yeah, no, that's a great example that you use. Sometimes people, they're just so caught up in their ways and they don't think that they're doing anything wrong.
Look, we already know you're the boss.
Right. But some people, they need to show that they're the boss, like in front of like everybody. Like, okay, we know you the boss. We see it. You got your pins or like whatever it is.
We would respect you more if you speak to your employee better than that.
Yeah.
It was like she handled that situation very well. It's like, yeah, like it here. They treat their employees properly. They treat their customers, properly with respect. We would respect her more, or whoever, whatever the situation is. So
it's true.
Stop showing your face.
Right. That's right. Stop that.
Showing all of your face.
Yeah. And it shows more professionalism on your side.
Yeah.
Like, and your staff will respect you more.
Yes,
right?
course.
Like, there's some people who already deal with so much with going to work. So when you can have a boss that's approachable, right? Where you can talk to your boss, let your boss know how you
Employer, I love to say employer, not boss. Like,
Okay. Break it down. Why?
I don't know. I just think I'm my employer. I'm your employee, boss. It's too much for me. Not even with my own business. That I would be like, oh, you're the boss lady. No, I'm your employer. You're my employee, and I think it's kind of like out of respect. Everyone to each your own. That's just me. That's just me. Like, I'm my boss. I'm not your boss. I'm your employer.
I'm employer.
So,
right.
Professionalism.
Professionalism, right? I mean, I get that.
I guess the boss lady talks and the boss, whatever, but it's just not me, and I don't, and kind of like, that's how I want my environment to be. With the people that work with me and stuff like that, but yeah.
Yeah, no, you're right. No challenge there. No challenge there at all. But yeah, that's I thought that was a great example with the Walgreens that you gave, and but yeah, you should have that. In terms of that same example, you want to be approachable, right? And you can take that anywhere, whether it be at a job or with people, no matter where you at. Like, you want to be approachable. There's a lot of people who hold things in and they don't say it because they don't think that you're approachable. They're like, if I come up to you, you're gonna snap,
right?
I can't say anything to you. You're so upset, and that is a problem, with a lot of us. But I will also say that the approach got to be right too. So it's like, while we do look at the part that, okay, this person is like this, they got to work on them and fix that, right? But also your approach got to be right too, right? So if we're talking about something calm and that's the vibe, right? And if that's what the topic is and you're all aggressive, you can understand why somebody's gonna feel uncomfortable. Like, it's like, I don't like where this is going. So
did you not have asked that better?
Yeah, like, it's and there you go, because you had asked that better. So all of these things are parts of communication.
Yeah, like in a text message as well. Like, you wake up in the morning, somebody said, hey you, or they just start, I'm like, excuse me, like, did we lay down in the same bed together, or in the same room, like, good morning.
Good morning,
you know what I'm saying? Like, it's
manners.
Manners. All part of communication. All part of being able to communicate properly with people. And some people is going to know what I'm talking about. Yes, good morning to you.
Good morning,
Shoot,
right?
We did not wake up on the same bed. And even if we did, you still have to say good morning.
You still got to say good morning. Good morning. Manners. Yeah, so, it's all essential things that should have been instilled into us, as a child, like, growing up, but
What if
still,
it's not?
you still have the responsibility
Right.
to figure that out,
Yeah.
like, because we all have our individual journeys,
We do,
right?
yeah.
We have our individual journeys. We learn. I'm pretty sure there's a lot of things that we can look back on that we probably saw, as a child, whether in our homes or whether it's around other people that we just seen. And we're supposed to take things from it. So it's either we're gonna be like, hey, that was essential for me, and that's something that looks like I should follow, or I didn't like that.
Right.
Because it's okay to say I didn't like that, or I don't want that to be me, right? So I want to be better, right? So the goal is to always strive to be better, right? Because perfection doesn't exist, but we should strive to be better.
Right.
When you can look back and see where you was at, like on different levels, and see that you improve, that's a great thing. That's a great thing. And I know we'll be lost without communication.
Right.
We'd be so lost if there was no components, if there was no rules or any of that stuff to communication, and we could just do whatever we want to do.
Oh, it would be a hot mess.
Because it's
barking at each other.
It'd be like, what's the measuring stick?
Right.
So it's like I'm just free to just say whatever to you. Like that's why certain things have to be implemented. Does
that apply to when people send you stuff in Instagram on your box and just go like and comment who are you and where did you come from? Is that another topic?
She took it. Listen.
What?
Listen.
I don't even know you.
Yeah, listen.
Come on. Some people that you're not even following, they're not following you, and then next thing you know, you get inbox like, hey, comment, like, and share. Excuse me.
I'm like, who
are you?
Like, who you?
Yeah, bad communication.
Yeah.
I don't know you.
Very bad. The instructions, right? The instructions.
Go do that.
Yeah.
Yes, my mother.
Yes,
I will not do that.
And for what though?
For why? My daughter would say. For why?
For why?
But that's also part of proper communication and be able to communicate with people. We all need each other, right?
Yes, we do.
And so there's sometimes if I'm reaching out to people about certain things, then I would, hey, how you doing? And the way you communicate. And so far, I've been getting, they've been responding positively and nobody's barking at me and stuff like that. But then some other people would come into my inbox and I'm like, but you should be able to approach, whatever you want to ask, whatever you're trying to do. Oh, could you please check out my post? Hi, how are you doing? Something matters. Communicating properly, better. It's an uphill battle on the social media networks, and it's just that's another topic for another day.
That's a whole other thing that we can get into. But that's advice. When it comes to advice, communication, I think that's hard for some people, to take. Not everybody is open up to advice. That hard wall, that shell that you have, because if you're looking, sometimes people look at who they're getting the advice from. Like, who are you to tell me I'm this way or that and whatever. But one thing that I learned about advice when it comes to communication, or what a lot of us should learn, is that the intent that the people who do care for you and love you, they do mean well if they're coming to you, right? And they're telling you something, right? They want to see you be able to communicate better, right? So they want to, it's obviously bothering them, right? I feel like if somebody doesn't love you and they don't care about you, they're not even gonna waste their time to even say anything. Right? They're not gonna say anything, right? So if somebody's coming to you like, look, listen, this is disturbing me. Every time I try to talk to you, it's you're very defensive. You know.
I was once going to
There's sometimes, I could say that I've been there.
Yeah.
You know, I've been there, and but like I said earlier, it's striving, you know, to be better.
Right.
Meanwhile, well, not even meanwhile. I was just gonna say that still there are people who do come to you and try to talk to you, and their intentions are not good.
Right.
While you do have people who do have good intentions, there's some that their intentions are not good. So if I feel that your intentions are not good and you're digging, you know, for something.
I was just going to ask you, what do you mean by their intentions are not good? Like,
yeah, because, you know, sometimes people have other motives. You know, where they want to ask you, you know, certain things. They don't really mean well. They don't really care, right? They want to be nosy. They want to be busy. And
is that why I keep myself in? Stay in my corner, man.
Stay in your corner, right? So
rely on the skirt. Just leave me, please, because you know we don't. I agree with you. We don't know which angle people are coming from and what their intentions are, and sometimes, you know, sometimes they come to upset your spirit by saying whatever. And yeah, we do. It's crazy that you said that, but yeah, continue, please.
Yeah, thank you. You are a great communicator and listener.
I try. I have grown because I remember one time where my daughter used to say, I have a hard time coming to you to talk to you because you're just like, I was really in that place where I was also snappy with stuff and very defensive. But I've grown, I'm mature, and I'm not ashamed to say it. I'm not ashamed to share it. Just to give other people, like, you can be one place and then you can learn and you can grow. And growing is part of living. You know what I'm saying? It's like it's part of us living and growing and experiencing. And I embrace all my experiences, whether it be bad or good. And if I was a bad communicator, now I'm okay, I'm better than I was before. You know, I'm not perfect at it, but I have to check myself, and that's one thing I am proud of as an individual, that I can sit back and assess myself and say, yeah, maybe not, don't do that next time, you know, listen and stuff like that. But now I'm a proud mother that I can say that the communication with my daughter and my son as well is where I wanted it to be, and I'm really happy that it is, because for me growing up, I wasn't allowed to say things, you know. There was no open communication, express yourself, and why people say, oh, but you're a child, you're not. I wonder how many people like really think differently than that way right now. Like right now, how is the talk right now about communication when you block your children out from really expressing themselves and opening the dialogue with them and helping them to be better communicators and listeners, and so we have these people in the world who don't know if they should come and talk to you because, hey, I would tell my mom that she's going to yell at me, go in the corner or whatever. That also have to do with how, you know, not only self-esteem too, but like how people are able to communicate outside of the home. So like you said, it starts there, and then we have a chance. But at the point, the point, you know, where I'm at right now is that we have to allow our children to be able to come to us at any time about anything and know that they can talk to us.
Yeah.
If anything else I want to do in the world besides feed the poor children and stuff and make sure everybody got clothes and foods and all that extra stuff, my passion, that's my passion right there. But that's an episode. That's for another episode. But besides that is be for adults with kids and regardless, open up the door for your kids to be better communicator, to be able to express themselves to you. It doesn't matter what it is, you know what I'm saying? And that's something that I think is so important, because anyone that know me personally growing up, like, you wouldn't get me in a chair to talk to you about nothing.
Right.
So it's I've come a far way, and I wanna like just share that, encourage other people to really open up and listen to your children. You can listen to where their mind's at and understand where they're coming from, and then you as an adult able to express, well, why that's wrong or why that's not wrong, or why I'll support you later when when it comes to finances, when it comes to whatever. Communication, that is key, right? And like I said, if there's one thing I want to encourage, is that open dialogue. Find that 10 minutes, find that 15 minutes, time that I don't care how many times you're busy at work. Everybody, they're caught up in my work, and then when your kids are going out there and getting advice from other people, you have a problem with it, right? So take the 5-10 minutes and communicate with your children, and listen to them. Listen to what they're saying. You might not agree with what they're saying, but you as an adult, they respect you more. They know that they can come to you at any given time, and it doesn't matter what. They mess up, whatever, because we rely on God to forgive us when we're doing all this craziness that we're doing and not doing, or whatever the case is. So, we have to, like us being His children, our children need us too.
Correct. You went into a lane that is very, very important to me. When you talk about communicating with your kids, and where can I go with this, right? So, we were once kids, right? So if we think how much we might have wanted to say things and we wanted to be heard. Now that we're older, we're adults, we have kids, right? I think sometimes as adults, we forget that we were there, right? So now that we're grown, we're on our grown, I'm the father, I'm the mother, listen to me, right? So, and I think sometimes with that kind of mentality, you don't think that you have to listen to anybody, right? But you don't remember how much you fought for people to listen to you, right? I know for myself, I was always very vocal and always wanted to be heard, right? And I run my mouth. Y'all hear our accent? Stay tuned. So I always wanted to be heard. I was just very expressive. I always felt like I had something to say, and whether it be in the house or just outside. And I think one of the most frustrating things is that if you have something to say, people don't really take the time to listen to you and brush you off or anything like that, But for those who did listen, okay, that doesn't apply to you. But now that you're an adult and you have a child or children, when they come to you, it is very vital that you listen to them. You don't know in that moment that you tell them not now, if that was the moment that they was going to tell you something that was crushing their heart, right? And there's not too many not now knows that a child is going to be able to take, and you don't know how many your child has in you, right? Before they say, you know what, I decide that I'm not even going to speak to you. So then when you see things change within your child, do you really have any kind of argument on your side to say like, yo, I don't understand, your behavior is different. They try to tell you something, right? It could be something crazy that happened in school. It could be something that with a family member, right? It could be that severe, right? And because you're so caught up in your life, right? And that you're an adult and you keep saying, not now, not now, not now, you miss that opportunity to hear your child, understand them, connect with them at that moment. So now when they go to their room, you don't know what's going on in their head. They're like, man, I have my parents inside here that I can't even say anything to. They never have time for me. Only thing they focus on is themselves. So, what do I do? I mean, you have some kids that end up writing diaries because it's like, all right, I'm gonna just write it all down. At least they do that, right? But you have some that just hold it in.
Or they act out on it.
Yeah,
they do some stuff that you're like, what happened to you? Like, oh, well, you weren't even listening to me, so I don't know what happened to you.
Yeah. Yeah, it reflects in their behavior, right? It reflects in their behavior, and now they start doing things that you can't understand, and now you're complaining, like, oh, my child is out of control. Oh, they were never this way. Well,
also I wanna inject in there as well.
Sure.
It's like we don't make our children's heart. We don't have control of how they think and where they want to go. But at least we can open the dialogue, that we can have the conversation, communication with them to kind of steer them in the right way. Sometimes they listen, sometimes they don't, but at least we know we've done our best.
Yes.
At the end of the day, we open the floor, we open the door to proper communication. We allow them to express themselves. If they want to do something positive and we can afford it, we encourage them to continue and push there. We make them see that they don't have to follow the multitude of the kids that are not listening to their parents or doing their own thing. We allow them to think freely with a little guidance.
Yes.
Because we all know we like to do what we want to do when we want to do it. Right? At that age, we're like, I'm still going to do it. My friend's going there. I want to go there. We're still going to do it. But at least a little guidance. For me, I had a family growing up, but I still didn't have a family growing up. And so I speak from experience. Like conversations I have with you all the time, it's me speaking from experience. And what I didn't want to fall into with my children as well. So I had to adapt. I had to change. I had to, because I think I also have a lot of anger in me because of whatever my situations, and that's another episode or whatever.
Right.
And so I was pulling from there, and then I had to realize that you're kind of doing what you didn't want done to you. Like what happened to you, you're kind of doing it to yours.
Yes, repeating the cycle.
Right. So that's why self-reflection is important. You sit and analyze and think my decisions. What am I doing? Is this correct? Is that, am I doing this wrong or whatever? And so I was able to adapt and make. I'm not making the perfect decisions all the time, but I said, I get my guidance from God and allow Him to use me and mold me into the woman He created me to be. So, so yeah.
Yeah. No, that's these are all things that really needed, to be said. Like we can use our experiences like as examples, of how just to be better. Like when it comes to communication. I don't know what I don't know what we would do without it.
Yeah.
You know, it's we'd be so lost, and my expectations is for a lot of us to just get better, like when it comes to this, because like it could really lead to destruction. You know, and there's a lot of things that I see, that you see as well, right? That that really is destroying us as people.
Mm-hmm.
You know, when you misinterpret what somebody says, right, or assume what somebody says, then things could just go so bad if you just don't ask the right questions. You know?
Yeah.
So you gotta ask, right? So even if you feel like somebody is saying, you know, if you think that somebody means something else, ask.
Ask for clarity.
Ask.
Yeah.
Get clarity. Clarity.
Mm-hmm.
Clarity is so important, right? If you respect the person that you're speaking to, get clarity, right? Because if you're just running with what you think something is,
right?
You don't.
Yeah, you don't. All right, so I think we covered our first topic for
Communication.
yeah, which was really we did touch on some things.
I'm proud of us.
Indeed. Yeah, I'm proud of us. Really, this was really insightful, and I love our conversation regarding this. So this brings us to the end of our first episode.
Yes, it is.
I want to encourage you to follow us on YouTube, Two Chairs One Chat. We are also on Instagram. My handle is I am Derry Cox,
and mine is Poetry is Visual. That's Poetry IZ Visual.
Yeah, and leave your comments. Also, our email address if you want to. If there's any topic that you think that you want to hear us speak on, Two Chairs One Chat at gmail.com. Send us your message. We will be looking forward to it. Excited to be really excited to be doing this.
Very.
And
that's our page too. We also have the Two Chairs.
Yeah, Two Chairs One Chat on Instagram as well. Yeah, how did I forget that?
That's right. And that's Two Chairs, like how you see it right there.
One Chat.
One Chat. Right? Two Chairs.
Two Chairs One Chat. That's what it is. Also want to shout out to Lounge Studio. They're amazing team over there that allowed us into this beautiful space, and want to shout them out, John and Pamela and all the technicians and, the guys, the awesome people over there.
Job that they do.
Thank you for the accommodations. Really feel at home here. It's really special. This is like a real nice place.
The ambiance is nice.
It's amazing over here. All right, until then, this is Two Chairs, One Chat. I am Zari, and
Rudolph.
Until next time, who's chatting in the chairs?
We are.